Hey, put your headphones in, please. Sorry, Rob, I can't hear you right now. I'm focused. Sorry, Ashley, we gotta look at you all. So if you get embarrassed easily, I apologize.
At this point, it's like whatever.
It's a good friend to interview. The sunglasses really compliment your shirt for sure. All right, so you should be up to speed where I'm at right now, which is you should have your lower thirds done. And I went and redid mine for Ashley's. Again, on this one, you can see I actually chose to put her degree or her classification as well as her concentration, her major. Okay? For me, I thought in terms of this video, that'd be helpful. I want to know what year she is. I mean, it gives me a little more information in terms of as a viewer and then what she's actually specializing in. All right. So what you should roughly have I want y'all to go through your footage right now. I want you to find something that's slightly shaky. So go through and something that you may have captured that maybe has a little bit of movement.
and foremost, I would tell first year students the most important thing is being present in class.
All right, did y'all find else footage? Somewhat shaky kind of footage. So I'm going to put this over my interview. I want you to do the same. I want you to kind of go find it. You can find it through the file or find it down here in the bottom through the media finder. But I want you to grab it, and then I want you to drag it on. Preferably. Unless you have something that's already in there that's shaky, we could probably use that too.
Showing up for your lectures, but also being engaged and making connections with your classmates and your professors.
I put it on my video 3 on top of my other B-roll footage. So right now on video 1, I have my interview. Video 2, I have the initial B-roll. Video 3, I have this new B-roll. Audio did get it does. It's brought over automatically when you put it on video 3. It should be thrown on audio 3, which you see it right there. If you want to, you can do it and just do the video if you want. I'm okay with which way. So if you want to view it in your source monitor and bring in just the video, I'm fine with that. If you brought it in the way I did, let's unlink it and remove the audio. And make sure it's the audio that goes with the actual video, not random audio or your other audio. And I want you to find somewhere in this clip that you can cut off a piece of it that you're not planning on using. So I'm going to cut mine right here. Now, what was the way that we talked about trimming the footage? How do we do that? No, not for bringing it in. Whenever we want to trim the footage in terms of we put it, right, so we get a bracket, a red bracket with the arrow in the middle that helps us resize that, right? And that's considered destructive or non-destructive? If we do that, can we add the footage that we removed? Okay, so it's non-destructive. What I want to show you is another way you could do it, because you may find yourself needing to do this in terms of making a cut in the middle to add something else. So I want you to come over here, and you're going to see a bunch of tools. Some of you have accidentally found these in the past when you're trying to do something, right? So typically we're using our selection tool. I want you to come down and select the razor. And then come over here, and what you'll see is a little razor with the white line, a red line, as I was. And I'll double click this to make it bigger. But what I'm going to do is match up my line with where I want it to cut, because I want to cut right here. And then I want to actually erase what I cut off. So I'm going to come up here, delete that, and now I have the footage where I cut it. All right, and then I'm going to play through it.
and making connections with
And
your
so you can
classmates
see a little bit on this
and
pan. There's a little shakiness to the pan
connections
right
with
there.
your classmates and your professors.
And then a little bit right there. All right, and I'm going to also cut that right at the end of where I want it to stop. Now, we're only cutting it and doing it this way because I want to show y'all something, but also show some of these tools. So I'm cutting mine. Choose to cut yours wherever you want, if you want to do it again. So here's my footage.
Engaged and making connections with your classmates.
And let's
So
see.
being engaged and making connections with your classmates and your professors.
All right, and so with this shaky footage, we have a tool. It's called the Warp Stabilizer that helps us stabilize some of our footage. This is a great tool. That doesn't mean that if you have footage that's going everywhere and it looks really bad, that this is going to fix it completely. But it's a tool that we do have on some shaky footage where it's really good, but for some reason something moved. So I want you to go over here into your project panel and click your effects tab. And we're going to go into the search engine to find the warp stabilizer. So go into search and click warp and find warp stabilizer. Click on it, it'll highlight it like this. If for some reason you can't find effects, remember if there's a double arrow, that means that there's other tabs you can select over here. All right, so with warp stabilizer selected, I want you to click and drag it on top of your footage to where it looks like this. It highlights it and then release it. And then what you'll see is on the screen, it'll start analyzing and going through its steps to help stabilize the footage. Is y'all's done yet? It'll depend on the footage. I think it'll depend on the length as well as how much correction it's making, but it could take a little bit. Mine's still going. It's also probably going to depend a little bit on your computer. If you have a little bit more powerful computer, it may go faster. There's about 20 different reasons why it could go slower. All right. What's that? She's coming for you. If you want to see kind of what your footage is doing, I'm going to play them both. I'm going to have one in my source monitor and then one in my program monitor, what's in the film. So to kind of look at the differences. So here's the initial footage. A little bit there. And then kind of a little bit there. Okay? And the guy that's looking at real weird. So then if we take a look at our program monitor.
And making connections with your classmates and your professors.
So I cleaned it up a little bit there. And then even in that pan, tilt, and zoom, it still cleaned that up a little bit. I'm telling you now, don't get some really bad footage. Go in and be pissed when the warp stabilizer doesn't make it perfect, okay? but it is a small tool to fix small things. So I think it's a pretty neat tool to use. I forgot to teach the students, and we didn't have time in 330 last fall. And some of them learned it on their own, and when they found it, they were blown away. So even if we're using our tripods, some of our movements, and that's what, again, that fluid head's supposed to help us, some of our movements may be a little bit jumpy. Okay? Now on this one, I would keep all your B-roll kind of on the same. There's no need really to go on to video 3. We did that just as part of this. So I'm probably going to bring this down, cut into part of that, the B-roll down there.
But also be engaged and making connections with your classmates and your professors.
And I'm doing a direct cut there. Now what I want us to do, let's insert a photo. There should have been a photo in our files online, correct? Okay, so what I want you to do is go find that folder or that photo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this photo again on my timeline. I'm going to put it in video 3 just for the purpose of today. So I'll put it on there. And I want this actually to be kind of my credits. That's how we'll do it there. I can move my playhead over. Now, when you see it like this, some of the photo's missing. So this just means that the photo is really big in comparison to the size of our video. So some of those zoom in out features help you find the edges of your photo so you can see where it's at. So if you come over here in your program monitor and you see where it says fit, and that's fitting to the width or to the size of the actual footage, let's go back and press maybe, let's try 75. And that's definitely not where I want to go. So let's do 50. So it took me all the way down to 25 where I could back it off and see the edge of the photo. What I want you to do is double click on the photo where you can see the outline. And actually, I still need to go more so I can see the edges. And I want you to resize it. So all you have to do, you don't need to press Shift in Premiere Pro. Click on the corner and bring it down. And then I can zoom back in to see what I'm doing. And I can go right to the edge to make sure that the whole photo is showing on screen. So you're going to have some excess on the bottom and the top, but on the edges, for the most part, just a little bit of an overlap. And then you can control the length. So you can go ahead, get your red bracket with the arrow, and make that the length make the photo the length you want, how long you want it to show. I'm going to go back to fit and play it through.
Connections with your classmates and your professors.
Now our audio was, we lowered our audio for the interview, right? For the music, our A-roll. I want you to bring it back up a little bit. So click over here. And just like we did before, let's add those keyframes. Select the A-roll. Let's add the keyframes to bring it back up. So I'm going to add one here. And it's all the way down there. And then I'm going to add one as it gets to the picture. So add your 2 keyframes. And then what I want you to do is let's raise the audio a little bit. And you may have to spread them out like we did before to make it gradual.
With your classmates and your professors. Engaged and making connections with your classmates and your professors.
Bless you. Do what? I zoomed out. And I went to 10%. And then when I went to 10%, I could see the edges, which were blue with the handles. I clicked in the corner and resized it back down. And then when I got done and I resized it to where it fit the screen properly, I did this. All right, so let's add one more legacy title, and we'll do that for our credits here. So remember, file, new, and you can go legacy title. This will be credits, and then I'll press OK. And then I want it on here. For here, I'm going to use some of the shapes just because the background's so colorful. It'll be a little hard to see. So I'll select the rectangle. I'll make a rectangle over here. And then I'm going to change mine to the color black. Now remember, you can add any of this stuff like this for any other things that you're doing. So if you want to add shapes or anything like that. And I'm going to change my color to black. But I still want to add a little bit of transparency so you can see the photo a little bit. And then I'm going to start adding my text in terms of what I want it to say. Do the same thing with changing my text color. Switch that back to white so it'll show up. Remember, you have control of anything you want with this. When you're done, close that legacy title like we did last time. You'll find it in your project panel or tab, and then add it. And you can notice how I matched up the length of the legacy title with the length of the photo. And I'm going to put a little bit of an effect on it so it kind of gradually fades in and fades out. Under video transitions like we did last week. When they show. Oh, it's still in the search. Get rid of your search if it's not showing up. Fade it in, fade it out. Did y'all see how I was? So if you take a look up here real quick, look how it visually looks, but I want my picture to show up before my text comes, and I want the dissolve to be done before then. So if you saw what I was doing, you can reshape or resize, although don't. You have your transition selected. You can resize it on its own. And that way you can make sure it's done before it ends. And then when you get done, you should roughly have a cohesive video.
First and foremost, I would tell first-year students the most important thing is being present in class and not only showing up for your lectures, but also being engaged and making connections with your classmates and your professors.
Now make sure your video, your audio needs to do what? It needs to go out. So you may see how it sounds on just cutting it, or you may see if you actually need to fade it out as it goes black, kind of a deal. But make sure before you finish, if your audio keeps going like this, your video keeps going like this. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions there? Okay. So make sure you have your timeline selected like this. You see the blue line, how it's highlighted? Right here. If I go off it, the blue line goes to the other different panel that I select. And what we're going to do is export it. So we're going to make it to a final product so we can actually use it. Now I need to real quick before I do that, cut my footage or my audio. For time, I'm not going to worry about fading it, but I'd probably fade it here. Yeah, definitely fade it. It's going to sound a lot better. All right. So with our timeline highlighted in blue, what I want you to do is go to File, Export, and then go to Media. And you'll get a dialog that'll come up where we'll have some options on how we can export this. So the most common format to download it is going to be the format that it comes up, which this is going to be an MP4 file, which usually works on anything. Okay. You'll notice that if you come over here and click on format, you have a lot of different options that you can do. And actually, it's not format. Where's it at? There we go. On preset. You can do YouTube on different things, but what you want to make sure is that when it matches the source, this means it's going to be consistent with what your footage is, and you're not going to try to export it into something that it's not. So for general, I leave it like this. I usually make sure that use maximum render quality is done. And then also to improve video, I usually do a double pass here on your bitrate encoding. These are the two things that I was taught in terms of getting the best quality output in terms of your video. And so once you have it there, you'll go to export, and then it'll export your complete video. You can see right now that, how long's your video? What does it say over here? Huh? Right, mine says 29. What does y'all say? $18? Okay, your numbers will be different right here, but make sure that this number is consistent with how long it showed over here. Okay? And that way you know you got your whole video. And then from here, you go to export. The longest part of, I think, besides actually doing all the editing, is exporting. It's going to take a while. If you have a slower computer, an older computer, this can take a while. All right? So you may want to go ahead, set it, and leave it. Before you do anything in terms of exporting, though, make sure that you go to output name and see where it's exporting it to. So this is going to export exactly where I want it to, and then I'm going to title it back to UT and press save. Make sure you do this before, so your video isn't exported to somewhere random on your computer. Are there any questions? I've had it take anywhere, depending on how long your video is, it could take 30 minutes. It could take an hour. Some of the quicker computers and bigger, like the iMacs, mine takes a few minutes compared to that. It'll vary. It'll tell you, though, as soon as you start. So don't wait till the last minute when you're getting ready to upload these. Give yourself some time. You may want to put this one, not now, because it'll start consuming your computer. Practice at home to see how long this one takes. And again, mine's only 28 seconds. So how long? It could take a few minutes. It could take more. So figure out what the speed of your computer is.
Where did you go for that? I can't really say kind of too fast thing.
I went right here
Okay.
in this screen. See how it scrolls?
Yeah, I like that.
It's on video. You don't have a scroll right here? You can go like this, Jay. Go to your corner, make it bigger,
Okay.
and you may be able to see a little bit more. But your screen is also tiny.
I'll have a tiny.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Let's cancel this. Save what you have. And I want you to close Premiere Pro.